It's your 716 Uncle P from the world famous podcast, Men of a Certain Age. Please like, share, and subscribe.
Welcome into the latest episode of Men of a Certain Age, The Soup. As always, I'm Les. I got my man DL with me, and I got my man Panero with me. What's up with y'all, fellas? How y'all feeling today?
Great. No complaints. Never do. Good weekend. I just found out Carolina lost. But other than that, it's all good. No worries. Good week. Good weekend.
No doubt. No doubt. Panero, how are you, my G?
Man, I hope Mike Tyson whooped Jake Paul's ass.
Oh, my
That's
goodness,
how I feel.
man.
That's how I feel. Jake Paul ain't a boxer, but he's using his influence to get boxers in the ring and make bread. So I hope Tyson knock his block off.
Yeah, definitely.
Definitely. 3 out of 3 doctors agree on that topic. That's for sure. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, man, welcome into the latest episode of The Soup. We got an excellent brew sitting for you right now. We got Charlamagne Tha God on this particular episode. Again, we got Stephen A. Smith coming in. We got Mike Epps with some deep thoughts about the hood. And then we have Mr. Roland Martin. And Roland Martin Unfiltered has a few choice words for Mr. Joe Rogan, punk ass. And then also, and as we recording this on the Sunday, as always, it is March Madness. The brackets and different things are going to be announced a little bit later on this evening as we record this joint. So we got a lot to say on that whole little women's basketball. It's not even really necessarily men's basketball this time around. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened last Sunday with the Bayou Lady Bengals of LSU and also the South Carolina Gamecocks. They had a little pushing match going on down there and how one coach handled it opposed to the other. And then last but not least in the soup, we're going to talk about Mr. Ryan Clark. RC has some real interesting things to say about being a black quarterback and the realness of being a black quarterback. So with that being said, we're going to go ahead and start the soup off here today, man. This is the election season. That's a lot of things that's going on in the world, and definitely going on right here in our backyards. And we had Stephen A. Smith and Charlamagne Tha God breaking it down, chopping it up about the Democratic Party as well as the Vice President herself and Miss Kamala Harris. So we want to listen to what Stephen A. and Charlamagne Tha God had to say about the lady VP, and we're going to come back and chop it up, all right?
I still believe in the vice president.
I was going right there. That was my next question. I didn't hear you mention Kamala Harris, Vice President Kamala Harris. You still believe in her?
I do, but we're in the bottom of the knife.
Yes.
We're in the bottom of the knife, and she's been in that office for over 3 years now, and I just wish people could see the Kamala Harris that you get when you're just having a conversation with her.
That is exactly why I don't believe in it. Exactly that. Because I'm not questioning her credentials. I'm not questioning her ability to deliver and resonate in terms of a message. My problem is you waited too long not to. And so much time has passed by. And she's been taking a lot of history, VP. You can't do but so much. You got to flow along with what the administration asked you to do. So I blame them more than I blame her. But in the same breath, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, how could you let it get to this point?
But you know what's so interesting? There was a way for her to come in and really have I don't want to say a heel turn, but like a turn in her, the character that we saw. Because you had Nikki Haley running around saying we should have chills up our spine for a Kamala Harris.
That's right.
Presidency. You had other people in the Republican Party saying we should be scared to death of a Kamala Harris presidency. Damn, why scared to death? That's not even language we use for Donald Trump.
Are you ready for this? No way I think she missed it.
Where?
Ron DeSantis, the state of Florida, the education system, they tried to explain that there were benefits to slavery. And they were challenging folks to debate them on this. And one of the challenges was to the vice president.
Yeah.
And she passed. And if you can't debate, and listen, we're going to be neutral here. We're black men. We're proud black men. But we're going to be neutral here from the standpoint. We're going to say it as plainly as I can without trying to be offensive. If you can't debate a middle-aged white man who is saying that there are benefits to slavery, as the Vice President of the United States, as a former district attorney of San Francisco, first black woman, as the former first black state attorney general in the state of California, if you can't debate that subject with a presidential candidate at the time, to me, it was one of those things. Yeah, it might be beneath you. You might be swinging down because you're there and he's not, because he was aiming to go for the White House. But in the same breath, that issue should have been so piercing to you, that position that they took, that should have been a fight you were willing to embrace.
Absolutely. And you saw when that's what Gavin Newsom took up the fight, right? So
Yes.
him and Ron DeSantis actually were debating on Fox. I agree with you. Like, you got to go into that lion's den. You know, I know for a fact that a lot of Democrats, you know, in her position, they feel like their words get misconstrued by Fox News. So they're afraid to speak truth to power the way they want to, because they feel like Fox will take a soundbite and run it over and over for their audience. It can be so what if you're willing to go to Fox, because they can't misconstrue you.
That's right.
When you right there in
You're
their
everywhere.
face talking to them.
You're everywhere. They ain't the only network covering you.
That's right.
So yeah, shout out, excuse me, y'all. Shout out to Stephen A. Smith and Charlamagne Tha God for their points and their views, and you could definitely see more of that interview on the Stephen A. Smith show. So just sitting and listen to that clip, that 2 minutes, actually 2 minutes and seconds of that conversation. Dom, what do you take away from what Stephen A. and Charlamagne was saying there?
I think that the vice president role has always been nondescript. You know what I mean? The lady in waiting. So I really don't expect her to have any impact, to have a sizable impact. Obviously, aside from supporting Joe Biden, I don't think that she's distinguished herself in any way, shape, or form, which is generally what vice presidents don't do. They really don't do anything. And I studied a lot of history, a lot of obviously U.S. government history, and I can't even remember probably the last 5 vice presidents. I think past George Bush the first, I think I'm lost. And I only remember him because what? He became president. Dan Quayle. I can't, with your boy that lost the election. We had Dick Cheney, then we had Sloppy Joe, then we had whoever the fool is, the gray haired dude. But they're really nondescript, man. So I really can't. I'm not gonna pull a poke at her for anything like that. Now, as far as the debate with DeSantis was doing anything he possibly could to get attention. And honestly, as the vice president of the country, are you really going to debate somebody who's a governor? No, it's beneath her, and I really don't feel that she's done anything wrong. Like I said, vice presidents always historically have been very nondescript. So no.
So Lord, you sit up there and you listen to Stephen A. and Charlamagne. First of all, Stephen A., if you're gonna roll your sleeves up, roll your sleeves. Why you got them like that? Like, what is that? Who does that? But
Gary Gnu.
No, the news is good.
Remember? No, the news is good. The news with Gary. The news.
You can call him Gary Gnu forever too.
But you're sitting up there and you listen to Stephen A. and he's pontificating. I lost respect for her when Ron DeSantis said that there were benefits for slavery, and then she didn't come out firing. Go ahead, Lord.
I just don't understand what people expect from her.
Exactly.
What do you expect her to do? Now, because she's a woman of color and a woman and a vice president, there's a lot of first in there. So it's difficult for her to decide what she wants to step into and how she wants to do it. Now, she's the vice president. She's not just the vice president of people of color or black people. She's the vice president of everyone. So she has to be extremely careful of who she talks to, who she deals with, who she debates, because it could diminish the administration. So they say she had opportunities to do this, that, and the third. Who are you to put her in a position like to do this, that, and the other? I think she's handling her position with grace and decorum. You know what I'm saying? I respect the fact that she goes where she needs to go. She says what she needs to say, and she's really careful about it, which you have to be, because there may be a point in time where you may have to step in. Not saying that something may happen, but if so, Biden is not a young guy. There's a possibility she may have to step in. And if she does have to step in, she wouldn't have to look back at, I debated the governor of Florida. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So I think sometimes you go a little overboard when you expect something from a vice president. Don said, I can't even remember some of these vice presidents, man, because their roles it's not like it's insignificant, but it's not something that you're not looking for the vice president to say this, that, and the other. You're looking for the president.
As I agree with both of y'all, shocker. But at the end of the day, it's like this, as you said in the beginning, Don, the vice president is just that. He's the vice president. He's not the president. Or in this case, I'm saying but in this case, as you said, P, a woman, and then also a Black woman at that. So let me just address Charlamagne's question when he said, why did she say the most dangerous person if something happens to Biden? Because she's a Black woman. That's the reason why they were saying it's even double, triple times worse if she becomes the head person in charge. And as y'all said about the vice president, he or she, in this instance, is to basically ride along and get along. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Joe Biden felt some type of way about Ron DeSantis saying that shit. And he said, Kamala, as my VP, you go down there and handle that. That's a whole different thing. She can't just bounce up and say, you know what? That motherfucker said, what? Oh, I'm at his ass.
Right.
Exactly. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
She can't react to that. And as you said, Don, some of the VPs, George H.W. Bush was Reagan's VP. Richard Nixon was Eisenhower's VP. Lyndon Johnson was Kennedy's. You know what I mean? And then Joe Biden was Barack's, and Al Gore was Clinton's VP. And out of all of those VPs, Bush was the only one to run right after the president stepped down. Reagan's 8 years, Bush is the only VP who jumped up and became president. He only had a one-term presidency.
Yeah, he got tossed up. He got tossed up in 92. Clinton gave him the goods.
Exactly. You know what I mean? So for them to sit up there and say and try to really blast her, she didn't do this, so this is the reason why I ain't messing with her. That was real short-sighted on both of their ends. You know what I'm saying? But we're going to keep it moving with the soup here today, man. But also, before we get off of Stephen A. and Charlamagne, they also spoke on another topic that's near and dear to us here at Men of a Certain Age. They broached the topic of the Black culture and what's going on with it. So what I want to do is I want to jump into that with them and see what they had to say, and then we're going to come back and add to the soup.
Fantastic question. Have I ever been more worried? That's a good question, man. And the reason that's such a good question, because it's on my nerves every day, Stephen A., if I'm being totally honest with you. It just is what it is. Every
excuse my language.
day.
Absolutely
every
true.
Damn day.
It's absolutely true.
But
I love us.
I love us too.
But damn.
Yeah, and I'm sorry. I know it's mixed company in here, but we talking.
But it is what it is.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm more worried, because I do feel like there's enough of us in certain positions and enough of us with a certain consciousness that we really want what's best for our people. And it's a lot of folks that I see, they're not waiting on nobody. They're not waiting on government. There's a lot of people using their own resources to do things for us. Like for me, my mother's alma mater is South Carolina State University. I opened up a scholarship in my mother's name at South Carolina State University. I gave them a $250,000 out of my own pocket. Like I have a partnership with the food bank in Harlem, because I'm sitting there talking about we got to keep people's food on these people's
tables. And I'm happy
tables.
to help with that, by the way.
They'd love to have you out. So there's certain things that I see a lot of us doing. My nonprofit, the Mental Wealth Alliance, where we're trying to get 10 million Black and brown people free therapy over the next 5 years. Every day we're making strides towards those type of things. So I think that there's a lot of people who aren't waiting on anybody, a lot of Black people who aren't waiting on anybody, who are taking our destiny into our own hands. So that gives me a lot of hope. But man, when I go on this, boy, it makes me hate us sometimes.
And why does it make you hate?
Because we tear each other down in ways. For example, we talk about President Biden, right? We give white men like President Biden so much grace, but don't give each other none. Zero.
Right.
You can talk, you bring up President Biden's 94 crime bill or the 86 mandatory minimum sentencing or the 88 crack law. They'll make up all types of excuses as to why that happened.
Yep.
People should be allowed to change and this and that. But you don't do that with your own people.
That's right.
You don't do that with your own
And you know what they'll say?
people.
They'll say, Stephen A., who the hell are you to talk? Charlamagne Tha God, who the hell are you to talk? Because people come on y'all shows and y'all grill them every day, or y'all will call it like y'all see it, but y'all knocking down the black man every day. That's what they'll say. That's what they'll say about you. That's what they'll say about me. How do you respond to that?
I don't think we're knocking down black men. I think having conversations with people is not knocking them down. I think if you
or calling it like you see it for stuff that they do in front of millions of people.
Yeah, and I'm not calling for somebody to be erased off the face of the earth. I'm not trying to go prune their timeline and get rid of them all together. We're just having conversations. The same way when people disagree with things that I say, I'll listen. I don't have no problem apologizing if I'm wrong.
Right.
I don't have no problem saying, hey, you know what? I got that wrong, my fault. I don't have any problem doing that. And I don't have a problem bringing the person I was talking about onto the platform so we can have a conversation amongst each other. I think that's really good for our community to see.
I've cut back on that. Let me holler at you about that. Let me tell you why. YouTube. I got a YouTube show here. You understand what I'm saying? I'm part of your teammate on iHeartRadio now and stuff like that. Love it. Here's the deal. Because you can make money now doing that shit, that's what you got cats doing. They ain't whispering and saying stuff privately or just saying something on a social media platform for you to see. Now they want everybody to see it. They want it monetized. They don't have to have proof. They don't have to have validity evidence. They don't have to back it up with substantive facts. They don't have to do any of that. Now you trying to act like you all up in your feelings, like you're really conscientious, when in fact, you're just trying to get paid.
You want me to respond.
That's right.
So then now you got more content, or you want access to the platform because I might invite you on to have the conversation, or I might go to your platform to have a conversation. No, you're right about that. You're right about that.
Again, man, I'm gonna say shout out to Stephen A. Smith, Charlamagne Tha God. If you want to see the rest of that interview, the rest of that conversation, check out the Stephen A. Smith show on YouTube. But also share, subscribe, and comment down low on the soup. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. We need y'all. So with that being said, we're going to continue on. So P, Charlamagne was asked the question, what does he worry about the culture? And when Stephen A. broached that question to him, I chuckled inside. Does he worry? I'm going to let you go ahead and get your shit off. Go ahead, Lord.
I appreciate a lot of the things that he said he does that I didn't know about. So shout out to Charlamagne for his donations and his philanthropy. I appreciate that. But why does it always have to be, why can't we just go with the positive? Why does it always have to be when I pick up this or I pick up this, I don't like this, that, and the other. I don't like us. What you have to understand is we are in the information age. You know what I'm saying? Anyone can get on and say whatever they want, this, that, and the third, without research or without, you know what I'm saying? Or without facts backing it up. So you're going to have to filter through that. You don't have to go on and say, I hate my own people for doing this, that, and the third, or for trying to make money off of blase splee. But what you can do, which he did say he would like to do, is get on with these people to get an explanation, or to, like he said, if he's wrong, he'll say, okay, I was wrong, this, that, and the third. But again, if you're in the information age where anyone can make, like we're men of a certain age, we're from a hip hop age. Anyone can get on and make a song and just put it out to everyone. And it could be hot trash, but it's up to us to filter out through it and not just be straight negative towards it, but filter it out or let the people know, listen, this is where we come from. This is how we do things. You might want to get in line, or we might want to be able to teach them like men of a certain age do. We get on here and we talk to our nieces and nephews. We don't just talk down on them. So that's my opinion on that.
Don, when you saw Stephen A. put the question to Charlamagne about the culture, does he worry about the culture? What did you expect to hear from Charlamagne? Is my question for it.
I expected to hear, number one, like D, I'm impressed by the things that by his activity as far as helping us. I love to see that. You know what I mean? I think that even though we don't know a lot of things that celebrities do, It's always good to hear that they actually are using things like that to benefit us. So I'm with it. I really don't disagree with anything that was said except for one thing when they talked about niggas, when they say it's niggas, right?
That's negative.
Okay, check this out. Because when they said it, they didn't separate niggas from black people. You know what I mean? And that was my big thing with the conversation that they were having. Now, we all know that obviously every kinfolk ain't kinfolk. There's the black devil thing we talked about last week. We do have instances of that. But we also know that there's a distinct difference between black people and niggas, because there's a big difference. And for you to group us all together with that, I thought was very, very telling as far as the way that he thinks about us sometimes. Right? And I also have to remember that Stephen A. Smith is not an FBA dude. You know what I'm saying? He's West Indian. He looks at it from a slightly different way. You know what I mean? And there are small nuances with us as native born or 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 generation black people here. There are small nuances in our language, and there are small nuances in our culture that we are aware of that others aren't. And I just think it's something that I didn't appreciate. But overall, I do the fact that there are actually people out there working. I'm not worried about black people. I was more worried about black people back in '87 because I didn't know, because I saw how crack affected everything around me, how it affected my friends, how it affected my neighborhood, how it affected people I know. And it just, we didn't know which direction it was going. Now we pretty much can tell what lanes people are sliding into, whether they be sheep or wolves or individuals. You can obviously with our age and wisdom, but also with society. But back then, man, I was scared to death. I didn't know what was going to happen with this shit. You know what I'm saying? So, we made it through that, dog. Like I said, we made it through the crack era, man. We'll be all right. We made it through slavery. You know what I'm saying? We'll be all right. Black people are always going to be all right, man. I truly have faith in us.
That's what's up. And for me, man, I got a couple things I want to say as far as that. Charlamagne, he's a double agent to me, because you talk about you worried about the culture, but you perpetuate a lot of the bullshit that's fucked up within the culture. And as far as just charities and there's different things of that nature, he should do those type of things because he's in a position to do it. You know what I mean? And he has a responsibility to do that. Salute for him to do that. No doubt about it. He don't get no extra points for that because he should be doing it. You know what I'm saying? And as far as Stephen A. sitting up there talking about people such as us, YouTubers, you know what I'm saying, out here giving our opinions and saying different things, and he want to say that there's no fact checks and no factual this and that, and nobody to hold us accountable for the things that we say. I say this to you, Stephen A. Fucking Fox News and Newsmax fucking lie every day, all day. You know what I mean?
Every day.
They fired people for getting on TV and blatantly lying. So, and you are Mr. Stephen A., Mr. Super Capitalist. Yeah, this is America. We are trying to capitalize on the things that we can in order to further ourselves forward. The culture right now is fluent, as Stephen A. likes to say. It's fluent. It's ever changing. It's moving in a certain way that I don't like, and that really is what spawned this whole thing that we doing right now.
Right.
Because I wasn't feeling on what was going on within the culture, and we get on here and try to speak on certain things within the culture so that we can hopefully add on. I came across a real deep segment on All of the Smoke. Shout out to Matt Burns and what's my man's name? Stephen Jack.
Stevie Jack.
Shout out to Captain Jack and Matt Burns. You know what I mean? They doing their thing and they doing it real big over there on All the Smoke. They had Mike Epps on there, man, and he had a segment where he was talking about your peoples that you grew up with, the people that you thought is going to be in your corner for all of your days. So what I want to do, man, is I'm going to play that quick cut, and then we're going to come back and do what we do.
I've been on drugs. I've been through hell. I did most of the movies on cocaine. Man, I used to sit in Ice Cube's trailer in the morning and be crying, tears. He like, Mike, wipe your face, man. You a king, nigga. Stop doing this shit to yourself. I'm sitting there wiping myself. I had survivor's remorse. I was so sad that I left all them niggas here in this city. And I was famous, and when I would come home, I wanted them to be happy for me, and they was mad at me.
Yeah.
I said, damn, I gotta destroy myself for you to like me. And my favorite nigga, It seemed like he liked me more when I'm coming down off coke and I'm crying and I hate myself. He was like, oh man, I love you, nigga. I'm praying for you. But when I wasn't high and I was working out and I looked good, he's nigga, you think you better than me. I said, nigga, how is my success a reflection of your failure? And that happens to the kids. They around here killing themselves, trying to fit in with somebody who's fucked up.
Hey, man, like I said, when I came across my line, man, it hit my heart, man. To hear Epsy run that down about being up and then coming back to what you came from and your mans in them, you know what I mean? They like jealous. They feel a little jelly of you, man. That's the first time you saw that, huh, P?
Yeah, no, I saw that before. Before. And it touched me. It touched me also. Like you look to be successful. You not only look to be successful for yourself. For me, I look to be successful to pass that success on to my mans in them. You know what I'm saying? Let me show you how I did this, so maybe you can do something in your way to be successful also. But if you come at me in a way where you think you're better than me, no, I'm just trying to do better. I'm not trying to do better to spite you. I'm trying to do better for me and my family, to set an example for other black kids or other kids that are coming up. I remember moving into a house. I had bought a house kind of downtown some years ago, and it wasn't in the best area, but it was in an area where there were a bunch of us. So I said, let's get this house here instead of moving to the burbs, so that way people can see a family and aspire to be one. You know what I'm saying? So it would hurt if someone said, you trying to be better than me because you bought, no, I bought a house in a community where I could, people like me could see, we could see each other doing good. You know what I'm saying? So for him to say just survivor's remorse, and then he had to come down to that level for them to like him, it's sad, man. It's a hurtful thing, man. And I'm glad that I didn't have to actually go through anything like that to that extent. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to drugs and stuff like that. But I felt bad for Mike, man. And hopefully he got some therapy for that, you know?
So UH, is that a case of Willie Lynch in our blood, in our bones, that we feel better if you sitting next to me doing the same old thing that I'm doing and not trying to better yourself? I would rather for you to be here with me, fucked up, high, instead of prospering and throwing out that vine to pull me up out of where I'm at. Is it the sickness within us as a people that makes us that way?
I think it's a cancerous part of capitalism, compounded with our history. I think that, like we always say, because of the fact that we're originally and historically a communal people, we generally want to see each other do well. Obviously, with the sickness and the institutions that we've been exposed to over the past 400 years, it puts us into a survivalist mode. And it's one of those things where if you're just trying to get by and you see somebody who it looks like it's not hard for, who may come from the same place as you, it may spark the jealousy. Now I'm going to back up just a little bit on that. I'm a person who's never been jealous. I've never been jealous of anybody for anything. And all of my friends that people I call my friends are basically still my friends that I've had all my life. Now, I've had some people in Atlanta that I thought were my friends at one point or another. But what happened was, when I wasn't able to do the things that they were used to me doing, girls, weed, cars, party, all that type of stuff, you know what? They got gone. And my true friends, the ones maybe one dude I met, and not even maybe, two dudes I met down here in Georgia, and the rest of my frat brothers. So but what it showed me is that those people around me were secretly envious of what I had. And I didn't, and me not being a jealous person, pardon me, I wasn't able to see that. Right. You know what I mean? Remember when I first got on here, I talked to you guys about discernment. You know what I mean? It's important that we know who's around us, because you can avoid situations like that. People who want to see you do bad, people who aren't going to pat you on your back when you're doing good, or ask, hey D, how you manage to be the only dad on the block? Why are you the only dad who comes to pay PTA meetings? You know what I mean? They don't see it that way. They see it, oh, this nigga just showing out. Right. He got a big house. No, they don't. But they'll come across as concerned. So I understand where he's coming from, and because it's been a valuable lesson for me to learn personally.
Now, he said this was a cat he loved the most. You know what I mean? This was his man. At the end of the day, when you realize that, is he still somebody you come check for when you come home? As you come to realize that this cat want to see me not at my best. Is he still a friend, or is he a friend of me at that point in time?
Absolutely not. Fuck him.
This is where you grow, bro. You know what I'm saying? In that situation, you've grown away from that. Even though you can try at one point, but after the first try, if he still feel that way about you, you have to grow apart. Not hate. You know what I'm saying? You don't dislike or dislove him, but you have to grow away from that. And it's just a maturity thing. You can't realize what I'm doing here and what I'm trying to do, and you're jealous about it, then I can't mess with you in this certain realm in life. I've moved on. You know what I mean? Still love you, but I got to keep looking forward. You can't drive a car constantly looking in the rearview mirror, man. It's just not going to work out that way. Can't go forward.
That's real shit. You know what I mean? And I guess to sum it up, it is life, as what you're saying, P. You know what I mean? If that cat that you hung with 20 years for 25, 30 years is still on the same time that he was 25, 30 years ago, there's no elevation. You know what I mean? And if you constant elevating, you're gonna have to unfortunately say peace to that whiz kid. Unfortunately, and we've all been in Epps' shoes. Unfortunately, at no fault of your own, you could be the same person that you've always been, and then somebody else got some type of feeling or some type of way, feeling. Yo, you mean you laying up at night thinking about me? Come on, man. That
Don said you don't even know it. You have no clue.
You know what I'm saying? You're moving it, and every move you make, they not only watching you, and a lot of people just watch you to see when you fall off, man. I really had to learn that, man. I really had to learn that, and I learned that lesson very well. Yeah, man. I'm a person who gets over things very quickly. You know what I'm saying? That's one thing about me, is that once I see what it is, generally I'm able to get past it very quickly. Now
once you find out,
yeah. Once I find out how you really get down, Pam, no worries, you got it. I don't even get mad. You know what I'm saying? I just don't fuck with you no more.
Right. Life is too short.
It's over, man. And I tend to be, and this is what gets me, is I tend to be more sympathetic when it comes to women because of my aunts, my moms, and you know, my cousins and stuff like that. But women do it too, man. Women will do it just as fast as a guy will. I just use a lot of discernment when it comes to people, man. I really watch who I'm around and who I spend my energy on and with.
And see, the thing is, when your intentions are never to be negative, your intentions are pure to each one teach one. But if somebody's not willing to learn, you got to just keep it moving.
Yeah, man.
Like I said, I don't dislike you. I still love you, my mans. But I gotta keep it going.
Yeah, we gotta keep it. We gotta go in that direction. Yeah, man.
Yeah,
I got people I used to be with every day, man. And cats is just not even part of my life anymore. I haven't called them, haven't talked to them, no nothing. They just gone.
But as we continue on the soup, man, we got Mr. Roland Martin, man. And Mr. Roland Martin is coming on the scene and joining the soup this week due to the fact that this cat, Joe Rogan, man, he has some bullshit to say about Joe Biden and Joe Biden's diversity, the type of things that he's doing within his cabinet. And Roland had some thoughts on what Mr. Joe Rogan had to say, man. And before we go ahead and jump into this whole footage, Joe Rogan, it is crazy to me how this dude is super popular. And my theory is this, man, is that in that MMA boxing or whatever mixed martial arts is really what made him blow up, man. Because it's like, Joe Rogan, who is this guy? And the crazy thing is that the brothers is locked in on him too and his bullshit. Going back to again what Charlamagne was saying, and he was using the example again of Joe Biden when he was talking about black folks. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, at the end of the day, Charlamagne, The choice is Donald Trump or Joe Biden. The choice is Donald Trump or Joe Biden. Donald Trump is a crook, a racist
He's
son.
a traitor. Period. He's a traitor. That should be enough. He's a traitor, dog.
Narcissist.
He's a traitor.
You know,
trying to destroy the government. He's a traitor.
The reason why he screams on Joe Biden like that is because Joe Biden is the Democrat, and obviously the black population is heavily Democratic. You know what I mean? So that's the whole reason why he cracks at him and oh Massa Biden and all that bullshit that he does.
Double agent.
But it's what's the choice? The choice is Trump, don't vote, or vote for Biden.
And if you don't vote,
that's a vote.
For Trump.
So that's why I say, Pete, that's why I call his ass a double agent. So again, Joe Rogan was screaming on Joe Biden about his diversity, DEI, and being diverse. So let's jump into this little cut from Roland Martin Unfiltered. Shout out to Roland, and let's do it.
In the country, he gets more people listening and watching him than a lot of the networks do. And it's a lot of people listen to him, a lot of black folks listen to him, and a lot of white folks. But guess what? His whiteness shows all the time. A video circulated today about some comments that he made regarding the Biden-Harris administration and diversity. When we looked into it, the comments actually were made a year ago. They only played about a 30-second clip on social media, but I had my staff pull about a minute and a half. Listen to this, y'all.
Bizarre how far he's deteriorated. And when I was talking about it during the election, and people were like, I was actually talking about with Eric Weinstein, and he was like, I can't vote for Biden. And he goes, I can't vote for Trump. And I go, I would vote for Trump before I'd vote for Biden. Just because the thing with Biden, like he's gone. He's gone. You're going to be relying on his cabinet. And I knew his cabinet would be this fucking sideshow of diversity. And which is.
So first of all, that's that whole Nikki Haley. Oh my God, that would be the worst thing ever if Kamala Harris became. So he already saying that without saying it.
Is exactly what it is. That one person who stole all the women's clothes, that Sam Brinton, we highlighted on the podcast yesterday, like that's a diversity hire. You just said, oh, look at this. A man who dresses like a woman and has a beard and a mustache, but also wears lipstick. This is perfect for us. I don't give a fuck what this guy's good at or bad at. I don't give a fuck what their credentials are. This makes us look like we're inclusive. This makes us look like we're on the right side. So let's hire this person. And you can't have those kind of people running a Ben and Jerry's. You certainly can't have those kind of people running the fucking most powerful government the world's ever known. It's nuts. It's nonsense.
Okay, those kind of people. Noticed how Rogan is that,
That's Roland's footage. That's not us.
Now, the person he brings out, he only mentions one person, and that is this guy, Sam Brinton, who's not dumb, he's a great guy, and who's a clear engineer. So what happened was he was accused of multiple airport thefts. That is, stealing clothes of women at airports. If you go to my iPad, you'll see. So Rogan is talking about this white guy, Sam Brinton, white guy, gay, who was arrested for stealing the clothes of women at a couple of airports. And so Rogan was discussing this in March of 23.
Weird, no doubt, weird, no question.
And the guy left the Department of Energy in 2020. So here's Rogan talking about, see, you wouldn't have these things. Really? Does Joe Rogan remember when a racist Trump speechwriter was forced out of the administration? First of all, Joe Rogan clearly is not smart because he referred to Biden's cabinet. That guy wasn't in Biden's cabinet. Now, Biden's cabinet is far more diverse than Trump's. So what are you saying, Joe Rogan, that a diverse cabinet means they are less qualified? That's interesting. So really, what are you saying? Because here's the deal. I remember this vividly. Trump speechwriter fired amidst scrutiny of appearance with white nationalists.
But that's so we all know who Joe Rogan is and how he gets down and how he thinks. What is Joe Rogan saying, Don, when he's saying about diversity, EI?
It's funny that, like you talked about the rise of Joe Rogan, I remember him from Fear Factor. You know what I'm saying? And remember, he got fired off of Fear Factor because something happened, something or another happened. He got fired off, and then he went to be the MMA announcer, head announcer, and so on and so forth. The thing about Joe Rogan is that he is a typical white male. He's an average white guy. He's got black friends, he's got Asian friends, he's got Hispanic friends, but in the end, he understands and realizes.
Sorry to cut you. So therefore, he's not racist because he has black friends, he has Asian friends, he has Hispanic friends.
I definitely didn't say that, because here's exactly what I was about to say. But he chooses to use his white privilege to the utmost. So when he has people who look at him as this kind of super intellectual, avant-garde thinker, tough guy, risk taker, alpha male, white man, you know what I'm saying? You've got people who are dummies and out of shape and mentally not astute following this guy.
Right.
To me, he's just basically dog whistling racism, like,
Pretty much.
as opposed to coming on and saying, listen, I don't want all these gays, blacks, spics, you know what I mean? Whatever other racist terms you could think of, he basically was saying that he's not with it. And if you think about, see, this is what gets me with people with Trump, man. If you think about who he had in his cabinet, man, I'm not gonna give a history lesson today, man. But anybody who wants to vote for Trump really is stupid. I really can't put it any other way. I really can't.
Exactly.
And Joe Rogan is stupid for being a Trump supporter.
You are exactly right. So, P, Joe Rogan and his wanted to take it back to make America great again, 1955, where Don Draper was walking around the office smoking a square and a Johnny Walker Red in his other hand, groping his secretary. And that's what Joe Rogan is on.
Let me tell you about Rogan Limbaugh. Excuse me.
Rogan Limbaugh.
Joe Rogan. He's just taking the place of Rush. You know what I'm saying? Let me just give you some statistics on the diverse cabinet and the administration of Joe Biden. 1.9 trillion in the rescue plan, 1 billion for Head Start, 15 billion for low-income child care grants, 21 billion for rental assistance for low-income families. Joe Biden is not loud, but he takes action and does things. What Joe Rogan is doing, Logan Limbaugh, Rogan, Jogan, whatever this joke is, he's using his base, his sound bites as scare tactics to those people who don't want to do research. So it's just easy to say, oh, Joe's sleepy, he ain't doing nothing, sleepy Joe. But I just gave you some small statistics on what this president is doing, and it's making a difference. He even had $55 billion on the Clean Water Act for us. But you're not going to hear that unless you go do some research on it. You know what I'm saying?
That's the fact. That's the fact. Like I said, Joe Rogan is definitely on the MAGA train. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. He was the same guy telling you to take horse pills to you don't catch COVID. You protect yourself against COVID. At the end of the day, man, these guys are who they are. And for people who look like us, who sit up there and listen and inhale what Joe Rogan is putting down, man, y'all need to wake up for real, because at the end of the day,
they need to get it together. That's what they need to do.
They do need to get it together. He doesn't have your best interests at heart. Definitely talking about the diversity in Biden's cabinet. They talk about Biden, as you were saying, P, some of the things that you just ran down. You think about it. He said that he was going to make a black woman vice president. What happened? We got a woman as a VP. He said he was going to put a black woman on the Supreme Court. What happened? We got a black woman on the court. He said he was going to do away with student loan debt, is what it is. He was going to do away with that. He put that in place. People working against him, they took it away. And who was that helping? That was helping the lower income families. You can look at some of the things that he said that he was going to do. He did some of the things that he said he was going to do. So you got to take your hat off to him for that. If you want to say there you go quoting Massa Biden. I'm not oblivious to what Joe Biden did in the early 90s and some of the things that he said as a young senator and as a young congressman. But at the same time, I know this other dude is vicious in the things that he's trying to do. Muslim bans.
Day one.
We're going to keep it moving in this fast-moving episode of The Soup. So this is March Madness, man. I love March because I love basketball, man. And last weekend, we were talking about this one game that went down in the SEC. Now, I asked y'all last week, man, about the tourney. Have you found yourself watching more women's basketball lately than you have probably in your life?
Yeah, I haven't. You know what's funny? I really haven't been on my sports. Like, once football went off, I tuned it down. But yeah, man, I actually last year I watched a lot more women's tournament basketball because of the Caitlin Clark thing, and I went to see LSU and all that. So yeah, I think that I'm glad to see that women's basketball is gaining popularity. And actually, I'll probably watch most of their tournament too.
Yeah. What about you, P? Have you tuned in and locked into the women's basketball?
The women's basketball right now is jive more exciting, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? They got their stars coming out, LSU, and the Caitlin Clarks and the Juju shaking up everybody on the court for USC. I'm loving it, man. The game is elevating. Some of these girls making more money in college than they will when they go to the WNBA. And with these guys in college, they be one and done, two and done. You can't even get your focus on their career in college. So it's tough.
That's a fact. And I'm not even going to sit up here in front, man. I've watched college basketball, women's college basketball from time to time throughout my days, like when Shamika Holdsclaw was at Tennessee.
Dawn Staley,
way back, going back to when Dawn Staley was at UVA. You would dip in and dip out, you know what I mean, on women's college basketball. But I've definitely been locked in about the last 2 years for sure.
Okay.
Is college basketball. And the reason why I'm bringing this up, man, because LSU, the defending champions of college basketball, played South Carolina, who was basically, they like UConn was 6-7 years ago.
Right.
You know what I mean? They just straight mopping folks up. You know what I mean?
With a whole new starting five, too.
In the last 2 years, they've lost one game, and that one game that they lost was to Caitlin Clark in the Final Four last year. You know what I mean? So these two teams are the Titans right now, and they actually happen to be in the same conference. They've already played twice this year. Actually, twice or once. They played once this year already down in Baton Rouge, and South Click obviously got the best of them because they ain't lost a game yet. So they beat them down in Baton Rouge. So last Sunday was the rematch for the SEC championship. So it was all the marbles, and it was high. It's serious out here. Ain't no joke. These women out here battling for the SEC supremacy, and it got a little heated, man. What I want to do is, man, I want to jump into this South Click LSU talk, and then we're going to come back and talk about the whole situation. So this is the big girl, Puerto Rican Dominican chick from South Click, Carmela Cardoza, 6'7", Lord. So she down there patrolling the paint like Shaq. You know what I'm saying? And then you got Angel Reese right there sticking to Jay. She's 6'4". Come on, man.
Oh, let's go.
It took Angel Reese a while to get it really going, too.
Good pass. Banger.
From deep.
Lefty.
Van Lip. So she
last year.
She a baller, yeah.
She was on Louisville. She went to Louisville last year. She transferred. She hit the transfer portal one time. Popo from deep, right back at you.
Square.
Look at that. Her form is nice. Oh, step through. Oh, the one leg.
From deep again.
Gotcha.
Rebound.
Angel Reese on the block and one.
Reverse.
They was talking cash shit out there the whole game.
That's what I was gonna mention, Fro. The women talk mad trash.
Oh, give me that.
Sometimes it could cut deeper because you know how women talk. You know,
man.
get you in your feelings.
Oh, good pass.
Oh, good pass.
The ball movement from deep. Splash. But you get the gist. You're looking at the score. You're looking at them. They going hard. They going hard. Look at them in the paint, banging. Come on,
It
man.
matters. It matters.
Let's go. Let's go. Give me that. Wow, they going hard down there. Oh,
Look
there
at
it
it.
is.
She banging. Oh, get it down. It was the bang.
They super physical.
Get it down. And they let them play. That's the reason why it got the way it did, because they
let them play. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Oh,
that's the best kind of ball, though. Go ahead and let them play.
So now we're gonna scoot up towards the end here. Here we go, man. So you got to realize first, the little freshman for South Click, she ripped her,
frustrated her.
Man, don't come out here, boy. There it go, right there.
There it is, right there. Yeah.
South Click is just a big ass team, man.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
smash! Do another one in the deck.
She a freshman? Hey, point guard is a freshman?
For South Click. Yeah, number 20.
What?
Number 12. There she go.
There it is, right
Let's
there.
Go.
You got mad about that still.
Yeah. Cookies.
And they was talking to her too after she stole it.
So this is the whole ruckus right here. Then you see the brother come in.
Yeah, whose brother is that, bro? It was somebody's brother.
It was Flozell. I don't know what her last name is.
Okay.
Flage. That's her name, Flage. It was her brother who came jumping over the scoreboard. I understand you got your sister's back, but at the same time, man, know your surroundings. What you doing?
He's an athlete.
What you gonna do? What you gonna do? Hit a woman?
What you coming out there really to do, B?
Yeah, hit the mouth. Somebody hit her in the mouth.
Man, she caught a ball.
They cleared everybody off the court except for 5-on-5. They had them out there playing 5-on-5 after that.
Here it come again. Give me those. Give me those.
Oh, gotcha.
See, now you mad. Now you mad.
Right? There it is.
Then Cardoza coming.
Oh!
What?
See your brother come over, hopping over the joint. Raider Bones is on him like, man.
Man, if you don't get your ass off the court.
Dang. I think she might have flopped, though, a little bit. Just a little bit, she might have flopped, y'all.
Cardoza's, I'm not having none of that.
6'7".
Come on, man.
Yeah, that was the game, and that was the ruckus at the end of the game. Now, let's check out and see and compare and contrast what the coaches had to say at the end of the game. Now, this is LSU's coach right here.
And with questions for Angel, and then we'll take questions for Coach Mulkey. Yes.
Justin Boucher with NBC 33 in Baton Rouge. Angel, have you ever been a part of a game like that one?
No, I've never been a part of a game like that, but of course, two heavy hitters, we gonna battle. We're not scared of them. They're not scared of us. We came in and know what we had. They came in and know what they had, and it turned up and went ways that we didn't want it to go. But I'm proud of this team. We fought with 5, maybe 6 healthy players. If that, just know we're not scared, and we're at a place right now that I'm proud of, and I'm happy to where we are right now.
Let me say this. Do you realize there was only one foul called on each team with 2 minutes to play in the fourth quarter? Are you kidding me? That might have created some of that.
No question.
Not the way we play. We're going to foul your ass. Not the way they play. They're going to foul your ass. But you only blew that whistle one time? Think about that now. Lajay, what I saw, intentionally fouled Full Wally because she stripped her. Great move because she's going to get a layup right there. And then some jawing went on with her and another player. And then the next thing I know, Cardoza just waylaid her. So I ran because somebody came out of the stands. I think it was Lajay's brother trying to keep him from doing anything crazy. But that was all I know. I can't tell you from my bench. He left the court. Obviously, they saw it on film and said everybody had to go. And then I think one player for South Carolina didn't leave the bench. But my question is, I don't really know the rules. Why weren't the coaches tossed if they left the bench? Wouldn't that be a hell of an ending? But I guess it's just the players that leave. Not good. No one wants to be a part of that. No one wants to see that ugliness. But I can tell you this. I wish she would have pushed Angel Reese. Don't push a kid. You 6'8". Don't push somebody that little. That was uncalled for, in my opinion.
All right. So that's LSU's coach.
She hot about it.
She said, pick on somebody your own size. How about that?
And her perspective. So now let's go to Dawn Staley and let's see what Coach Staley had to say.
What you saw were two teams, highly competitive teams, try to win a conference championship, and they did not handle it well. Our players didn't, their players didn't, and it escalated. And I want to thank the officials and everybody that jumped in and just calmed the situation down. And then the penalties were what they were. Like, they were well within the rules of ejecting the players that left the bench, even if they just stepped over the line of the bench. You have to sit there and keep your composure. But I'm going to say this. Fly J came to me right after the game, and she just apologized and said she's not that type of player. And I really appreciate that. It's something that somebody won't ever hear if I didn't say anything. And she's a really good person. Things just got escalated. I'll take responsibility for what happened from our side of it, which is we talk about these things as a team, and we try to, as much as possible, express to them how not to react in those type of situations. But real time is real time.
Yeah.
That anybody, Camilla, as well as the other 4 or 5 players that were ejected, I know if they had a chance to do it all over again, they would do it differently. Right. But now we have that. I just don't want the people who are tuning in to women's basketball see that and think that is our game, because it isn't. Our game is a really beautiful thing. And to be quite honest, this is a part of it now. So we have to fix it and we have to move on.
All right, man. So, Don, I'm going to come to you. Just imagine had Dawn Staley took Kim Mulkey's tone and point of view and said what she said, as opposed to what she said up there, like a coach, like a true professional, like somebody that you would want to turn your daughters over to. What would be the outcry if the roles were reversed?
Obviously, does have had the. It's funny because LSU last year, LSU was wearing a black hat, right? Supposedly, the black hat. We're going to use that term. Last year, LSU had a black hat on. Now they supposedly have the white hat on. You know what I mean? And Dawn Staley and them had a black hat. I think that had the roles been reversed, I don't think that Dawn Staley will be wearing a white hat. I think she'd still be wearing the black hat no matter what. You know what I mean? I honestly do. I think that just because they are black from top to bottom, or people of color from basically top to bottom, and they have a black female head coach, I think they're looked at differently. I think they're more so looked at as a gang, whereas by LSU having a white head coach, I hate to do this, but they look more like as a team in the traditional sense. Yeah, I wish you'd have did that. Imagine if Dawn Staley would have said that. That's crazy. You know what I mean? They'd be like, oh, what? Aggressive, angry black woman. She'd have been an angry black woman. You know what I mean? If she would have handled herself at a third of the tone that Markey handled herself at. So I commend Dawn Staley on her professionalism, and she still look damn good to this day.
Shout out Coach Staley.
No doubt.
In so many words, Don, you basically saying South Click is looked at how Georgetown was looked at in the 80s.
Pretty much. Exactly. Yeah, same way. Thugs. You know what I mean? So I just a shame because like they both play beautiful basketball. It's just a shame that we have to constantly be reminded of bullshit like this. You know what I'm saying?
Lord, compare and contrast Dawn Staley's comments and her thought pattern to Kim Mulkey's synopsis of what went down and what she hoped would have happened.
If Dawn Staley had came at the press conference and been like, yo, if Angel Reese, if Cardoza had did this, that, and the third, blase split, it would have been all Don said. It would have been like, wait, why is she so angry? Why is she acting this way?
Exactly.
What are they, a gang or a basketball team? But luckily, Dawn Staley is an intelligent person, an intelligent basketball player, a Hall of Famer, because she know if she had said anything negative, that it would have went that way. I loved her press conference. I loved the way she handled herself. I loved the way she said, this is not how we play. Our game is beautiful. But what she also has to understand is because they had a skirmish and because there's so much passion in women's college basketball, it's not going to turn people away. It's going to make people want to watch it even more because these girls really want it. They out there to a point where they're getting in the scuffles about it. So there's a positive and there's a negative to it. But again, when you have privilege, you can say whatever you want to the press. When you don't have privilege, you have to watch what you say because it can turn around and hurt you later.
It's absolutely correct what both said. And it's funny, man, because after it went down and the game was over, they actually talked to Dawn Staley on the court.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And even at that point in time, she apologized, you know, for everything that happened, that transpired. And I thought to myself, I was like, damn, she shouldn't have to apologize, get up there and apologize. And she was doing it because she didn't want her team to be portrayed as super thugs because that's how they were going to portray them. And she took all of that. She took all of that nastiness out of it by going up there and being gracious and accepting responsibility. It's a damn shame that in 2024 she had to do that. She couldn't just say that was two teams competing really hard and it got out of place. She had to apologize and this and that and the third. And that's just the classy person that she is. And she knows that everybody is looking at her. And she knows the responsibility that she holds in the position that she has. So salute to the South Carolina women's basketball team. And I am rooting for y'all to cut the nets down and go undefeated this season. You know what I mean? And Angel Reese, we got love for you too, baby. We see you out there working hard and going hard. But at this particular point in time, I got to ride with Dawn Staley and them. You know what I'm saying? And that's my word. So as we transition on from South Carolina and LSU women's basketball, we're going to transition to LSU great, Mr. Ryan Clark, man, Mr. RC. Shout out to RC in the pivot, man. RC just got his re-up with ESPN. So he
got the number one football analyst.
Yeah, so he's back in the saddle, feeling good, sitting up, saying a lot of things. But sometimes, man, I think RC likes to hear himself talk. Just recently, I guess it was Friday. Yeah, it was Friday. It was a quote by him that when he said it, and when I read it, and then I said it to myself, I'm like, what type of shit is RC on, man? Did y'all see the quote? Let me put this up there for y'all, man, so y'all can actually see it.
What the hell?
Lamar Jackson is the first authentic Black quarterback. Now, this is attributed to RC, Ryan Clark of ESPN. I'm going to come to you first. What is the rationale? Well, I'm not going to ask that because you can't get inside Ryan Clark's mind.
I have no idea what he's supposed to have.
What is he talking about authentically black?
I'm going to take a shot at this. I don't know what he means by authentic, but I'm going to take a shot at what I think he's saying. On the spectrum of blackness, the lighter you get, the more acceptable you are to society. Okay, I'm going to put that out there. There have been a lot of quarterbacks that have been black, from Doug Williams to Warren Moon to Michael Vick, if you want to compare Lamar Jackson with the legs. But a lot of those quarterbacks conform to what society thinks a quarterback should be. Spoken, haircut, blase, splee, this, that, and the other. This is what I'm thinking. This is not my thoughts. This is what I'm thinking Ryan Clark is thinking. Lamar Jackson is a Florida boy. He's not going to change the way he talks. He's not going to change the way he does his hair. His mother is his agent. He's going to do it how he's going to do it, and he's not going to change. So he's going to lose certain endorsements and things of that nature because society doesn't see him as the cookie cutter, put in the box type quarterback. That's what Ryan Clark is thinking. Now, if Ryan Clark was in the barbershop, he wouldn't have said it that way. He would have been like, yo, this is the first real nigga quarterback. Like real nigga quarterback. Which is racist to me to say. Because we're not a monolith. We're all, just because we're black, don't mean we're all the same. You know what I mean? From McNabb to from Warren Moon to, you know what I'm saying? We're all different from all different parts of the country. We all think different. We'd love to come together if we could. But when people have comments like that, it separates us. You know what I'm saying? So I don't know what Ryan Clark was thinking or what he was drinking or if he was, I don't know. I don't know what to say, but it was unnecessary for him to say that. What do you gain from saying that is what I want to know.
Don, Ryan Clark, what the fuck?
I don't know, man. I think about people, Rodney Peete, man, Andre Ware, like how many black quarterbacks, Steve McNair, come on, man. He didn't need to say shit. You know what I mean?
Rest in peace, Steve McNair, man. Wow.
Yeah, no doubt. But think about it, when we were younger, we even still had Doug Williams. You know what I'm saying? Warren Moon. What's the dude from Tampa Bay that couldn't get him over the hump, but kept on losing, and then they brought the black dude that
King.
Sean King.
Sean King, yeah.
Sean King couldn't get him over the hump. You know what I'm saying? So
Randall too tough to handle. Cunningham.
Come on, man.
Yeah, come on, man. So there's been a great and long history of whether they be black, like Dee described it, as far as a darker hue, a lighter version of us, man. We've always had black quarterbacks. That was some damn fool shit to say. Ryan Clark, I usually love what he's got to say, man.
Is he under some kind of pressure to say something? You know
I think what it is, I think it's the ESPN media machine is probably trying to put him more out there, make him more of a face of the ESPN, because they realize that Stephen A is definitely going to leave very, very soon. So
that makes sense.
Yeah,
but still don't get knocked off your square, fam.
That was stupid. I don't know where the hell that came from.
I didn't understand that. I didn't understand the science and the thought pattern behind that and saying that. The most authentic. What makes him more authentic than Jameis Winston? What makes him more authentic than
Tyrod Taylor? I was about to say T-Mobile, baby.
I was trying to think my man CJ down in Houston.
Geno, come on, man.
Geno Smith. What makes him more? Geno was famous for saying, "They wrote me off, but I didn't write back." You know what I mean? If that ain't some old hood, you know what I mean?
Exactly, man. That was some bullshit.
You know,
man, Michael Vick. Come on.
Exactly, man. It's crazy. His brethren, Jamarcus Russell on the lean. Is that not good enough?
Exactly.
You know, if you want to say authentic, what does that mean? Authentically black. That has no meaning.
All right.
First of all,
basically what I think it was, he was trying to that's more so a shot at Mahomes, Russell Wilson, Colin Kaepernick. Who else is that? a black quarterback out there.
There's plenty of them. When you stop? The boy that just got drafted by the Colts that went to Florida.
Richardson, yeah.
Yeah.
Anthony Richardson. You know what I'm saying?
Deshaun Watson. Mr.
Deshaun Watson, yeah.
Mr. Massage. There. You know what I mean? Come on, man.
It's a happy ending, huh? Yeah, man. I don't know.
It's like
Jacoby Brissett, man. We can name black quarterbacks all day, yo.
And everybody you named are all individuals. You can't clump them into just black.
Exactly. And that goes back to what we were talking about earlier. Is it the itis? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, Lamar is more black than Russell because Russell is more buttoned up than Lamar. That makes him.
That don't make him less black. He just Carlton. It is what it is. Carlton is black and Will is black. They just different.
Exactly. Exactly. So what does it mean? Again, to break it down, Ryan Clark, what does it mean to be authentically black? That you got your parents.
What are you really trying to say, Ryan Clark?
You know, grow fronts and you speak broken English. Is that what you mean? What do you mean by the authentic part of it?
That was horrible. That was a horrible
shock value. That's all that shit was.
That was disgust. That was horrible. That really was a bad statement.
Terrible. And that's the reason why I brought it up, because he needed a
fuck out of here.
Yeah, he did.
He needed that for real with that statement, man. And before we wrap this up, Don, you brought something up as we are in the season, right? We are in election season. And you brought it up and you said Joe Crack was in the White House recently, just yesterday. No, not yesterday, Friday. He was in the White House. They were discussing weed, you know what I mean? Laws and different things and the legislation of weed. And I'm thinking first and foremost, not that he has to, but Joe Crack has never been known to blow haze.
One time, I saw him do it one time on Drink Champs.
All right.
That's the only time I've ever seen it. And he said it's the first time I ever smoked.
Okay. So there you go. Again, he's over there. Joe is a commercial DJ, man.
Man, come on, man.
At the end of the day, man. Because as I was pointing out, he is not a cannabis smoker. That's just me telling you, P. We in Vegas, you go in the weed spot and pick me up some stuff.
Clueless.
Right. Why am I sending you in there?
Right.
And you don't have no expertise or no knowledge of that. And again, and the reason why I say he's a commercial DJ at this point is because it's a photo op type thing.
Right.
You know what they're doing?
Cloud chase.
You know what they're doing? They set him up. It's like they set Big Mike up. You know what I'm saying? They're doing the same thing. They're trying to have him be the voice of the brown people. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Like a Killer Mike thing?
Like a Killer Mike thing. Yeah, they're trying to have, I call him Big Mike. Yeah, like a Killer Mike thing. They're trying to have him be the new voice of the Latinos. You know what I'm saying? Because Fat Joe is what? Puerto Rican, but he cool with Dominicans, and he cool with the black people, he cool with the Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? That's
an interesting perspective right there.
That's exactly what they're setting him up for. You know what I'm saying? Because remember, he was talking about, don't have a mayor call me, don't have a mayor gonna call me, and this, that, and the other. He understands his influence right now. You know what I'm saying? So by him understanding his influence, guess what? Last year's price is not this year's price. The price them went up. I'm selling myself out for more. So watch out for Fat Joe.
Watch out for the commercial DJ.
Yeah. Watch out for Fat Joe.
Commercial DJ. So yeah, this was the latest and the greatest episode of The Soup, man. Thank y'all for tuning in. Please like, share, subscribe, comment down low. Also hit that bell, man. So when we do hit you with a new pod, you'll get notified and know that on the atmosphere. And please tell a friend to tell a friend. We love that y'all are with us and supporting us. Before we say peace, you got anything to say to the people, man?
I really do. I'm actually not feeling like the red-headed stepchild. We'll talk about that in a couple of episodes. But I'm not feeling like the red-headed stepchild or the white sheep anymore. I got my official Men of a Certain Age sweatshirt on, hoodie on today. Respect to my guys up there, you know what I'm saying? I'm official like the refs whistle, man. I appreciate you guys bringing me on, man, and I love it. I look forward to it every Sunday. And I'm glad we got a chance to kick it, man. I appreciate you guys every week.
Shit, we appreciate you because it ain't too many people gonna spark it like you spark it on a weekly basis.
doubt.
You know what I mean?
Appreciate it.
P Double, you got anything to say to the people before we ride out, man?
Yo, to my nieces and nephews from Uncle P, try to make better decisions on who you give full explanations to, who you give one-word answers to, and who you give nothing. That's from Uncle P, man, right there. Men of a certain age. Everybody don't deserve an explanation, baby boy, baby girl.
That's word. And this, again, this is the soup. And as always, man, it's the same old soup. We just reheating it.